We produce 15 million used tires in the world every year. If this number is broken down, every passing minute tires of 2,850 cars are damaged. This is the world's largest tire dumping graveyard in Kuwait here. Used tires from all over the world have been collected for the past 20 years. If we look at it in aerial footage, it looks something like this. This graveyard, which is spread over thousands of acres, is so large that it can be seen in space. But if this graveyard was in a third world or developing country, it would make sense. Kuwait, which is considered one of the richest countries in the world. What is its purpose here, and why has Kuwait been collecting them continuously for the past 20 years? And finally, what is the purpose of using used tires? Welcome to my channel. Once again, viewers, an average car tire run for 30,000 to 40,000 kilometers, and after that, these tires are of no use. They are thrown away, or we often see them lying uselessly on the side of the road. Other recycled materials can be simply melted and reused, but tires are made by mixing rubber and sulfur, so this process cannot be reversed. Secondly, recycling used tires produces dangerous gases, and this process is illegal in many countries. Even in Europe, it is illegal to keep used tires in the garbage. So now most Western countries send them to Kuwait every year to get rid of millions of tires. Here in the middle of the Iranian desert, spread over 1,000 square meters, this is the Sulebia tire graveyard. Here, not a single layer of the tire is used, but these 50 feet holes are made where they are being dumped continuously. Kuwait buys 1,000 kilograms of these used tires for just 1 dinar and stores them here. When Kuwait has been doing this for many years, it gradually became a graveyard, which is now being seen from space. According to Kuwait government officials, there are about 70 million tires in this entire tire graveyard. Now, Kuwait is a very rich country, so rich that a unit of the currency here is 1 Kuwaiti dinar is equal to $3.30. So seeing this, the world was very worried that what is the problem of collecting these scraps for Kuwait? While so far Kuwait has only been collecting them, none of them have been recycled. Kuwait did not have a shortage of money. That is why it was buying them in bulk, while in fact, the Kuwaiti government did not have any plan for this. Finally, an incident took place here after which Kuwaiti officials started taking these tires seriously. It happened that between 2012 and 2020, the tires would catch fire on their own. Now, because there were hundreds of tires here, the fire would spread quickly and it would be difficult to control it. This was the reason why they first divided the tires into different squares so that they could be controlled in the event of a fire. But even after that, the fire could not stop. Black smoke clouds not only produced deadly gases, but because of them, people in the nearby city of al-Jahra also had to face a lot of pain to see the level of destruction. Look at the satellite photo. This devastating fire was actually in a small square of the graveyard. So now imagine how much damage this fire would do if it spread throughout the graveyard. Because of these accidents, the international community also had a lot of pressure on Kuwait because these harmful gases remain unfiltered in the atmosphere. Finally, in 2021, Kuwait decided to put these tires in place. These tires were filled in containers and sent to the world for recycling. But what is the purpose of these used tires? A normal tire has 3 things: rubber, carbon, and steel wires. These tires are first melted with the help of a pyrolysis plant. The rubber melts and becomes gas, which is cooled and used as fuel. After that, carbon and steel wires are left behind. The carbon is removed and the steel wires are cooled and sent to the recycling facility. In addition, there are many other ways to recycle tires. One is shredding. Tires are shredded and brought in powder form, which is used in construction to make rubber tires. A few years ago, this type of soya tire graveyard was completely emptied in 2021, which looks like this in the satellite image. But even today, 4 billion tires are dumped in different countries around the world. We talked about the graveyard of tires, but what you see in this photo is not a graveyard of flowers, but the world's largest cycle graveyard in China. Yes, a few years ago, there was a lot of interest in bike sharing in China. In 2014, proper bike sharing programs were launched in which people would rent a cycle from one station and park it on automatic docks at another station. Slowly, this service was advancing and it was easy to find the location of a nearby bike with the help of a mobile application. People found this service very suitable, but often when bikes were needed, no cycle was available at a nearby location. New cycles were needed to meet the market demand. This is considered the best and cheapest way to travel for the middle class. Finally, several multi-billion-dollar companies were established to fill this market gap. Hundreds of cycle booths were built in each city, which had thousands of cycles parked. When this work was at its peak, 70 bike-sharing companies operated in China. According to a 2017 survey, this market in China was at the top of the world. Estimated China had 1.6 billion cycles on the road at one time. Then came a time when there was a lot of saturation in this business. Therefore, this business was no longer profitable and investors stopped investing in this business model. This is where the decline in bike sharing in China began. It got to the point where Beijing's roads could support 1.2 billion cycles at a time, while bike-sharing companies had distributed 2.3 billion cycles, which has doubled the capacity of Beijing. Therefore, the issue of parking so many cycles had now become a problem. People started parking their bikes on the side of the road, and as they watched, a cycle shed was built in every corner of the street. In 2018, more than half of the bike-sharing companies went bankrupt and their bikes were lying like orphans. Seeing this, the government started collecting them and dumping yards to clean the cities. Cycles were picked up from every street and every corner and brought to the dumping yards, which is now presenting a scene that is worth seeing. There are about 200,000 cycles in each dumping yard, and there are so many such small and large dumping yards in China, which are now known as bicycle graveyards. Even today, there is a lot of trend in bike sharing in China, but now this market is not growing as it did in 2017. I hope you will like and share this video of Everything Wise. Thank you so much for your comments. See you in the next video.